Hello and welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We are here most weeks talking movies inspired by the world of physical media. My name is Kurt.
My name is Sam.
Sam, today we are going to check out the recent Arrow 4K of Tarsem Singh's 2000 psychological horror sci-fi classic, The Cell.
Yeah, you've seen this, yes?
A long time ago. Remember very little.
Yeah, me too. I believe I rented this DVD from the Chicago Public Library at one point.
Wow, for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see it in theaters. I imagine it was a DVD.
I had the DVD for a minute too after seeing this. And I believe it was one of those like early DVDs that was a cardboard cover that snapped into like a plastic case.
It's New Line, yeah. So they all did that, I think, right? All of New Line's movies.
Oh, was that their thing?
And Warner Brothers on DVD, yeah. I always hated that.
Me too. I couldn't fucking stand them.
It's the steelbook of DVDs. I got bad news for you, Sam.
Oh, no.
Speaking of steelbooks.
Oh, no.
I hung out with Drew last night. He came over.
Okay.
And The Way of the Gun came up.
Okay.
Because we were talking about Mission Impossible and Christopher McQuarrie. And according to Drew, not a good movie.
Oh, no. Really?
So we're both curious to hear what your reaction will be. But
did you end up picking it up?
No, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to tell me.
Damn, solo journey into the Way of the Gun.
Last week we did Time Cop. Sam, should we talk about what happened? Should we let the people in on the behind the scenes drama?
Yeah, we might have to. We put out Time Cop last week, as Kurt said, but that was not the original plan.
Yeah, Time Cop was supposed to come out this week.
What was the original plan?
Well, Sam, you and I recorded a 2-hour podcast.
Yes.
It was a live watch along, you and me, on the mics with the classic shark film from 98? 98, 99? Deep Blue Sea. You and I watched it, talked while we watched it, tried to talk while we watched it. And I got to the finish line of post on it and was texting you like, I don't know, man. This might be like absolutely the worst episode we've ever done.
Without a doubt.
And Kim, of course, is out of town for work for a while. And I spoke with her on the phone and I was like, I think it's probably okay. And she was like, don't upload that. It sounds like it's not good. And so we sent it to Kim. We sent it to Kim's sister, Wendy, who's a loyal listener of our show. I sent it. I was like, they're going to like this. I'm just in my head about this. And they both responded, this is not worth uploading. So we pivoted last second to Time Cop.
And if, the listeners are out there and they want to hear it, you guys got to start a Twitter demand for it, like the Snyder cut.
Release the Deep Blue Sea cut. It exists,
Maybe one day we'll upload it for like 2 hours and then take it down.
Yeah, just enough time for people to crack a beer and watch Deep Blue Sea with us in real time.
We'll see who the true heads are at that point.
Exactly. But we're back, Sam. Stronger than ever. It honestly hasn't been that long since we've recorded last. Is there anything to confess on your end?
No confessions, honestly. I've been good this week, and I'm doing a no buy June.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll keep checking in with you about that.
I know. I'm going to try my hardest to do a no buy June. Unless there's something that is like insanely limited and will sell out, I'll pick that up. But otherwise, I'm going to pump the brakes. Do you have any confessions?
I don't recall how much we've gone into this or whether we have it all. I may have confessed it earlier, but at one point I pre-ordered from Amazon the Steelbook Director's Cut 4K of Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven, which released just in the last week or two. I pre-ordered this like a month ago, probably, and I got a notification from Amazon that's like, it'll be there in probably the end of July. Like, we're having supply issues with it. And it's like, all right, man, like, what is the pre-order for then?
Yeah, I also pre-ordered it from Amazon and have heard absolutely nothing.
And it's not like I need Kingdom of Heaven today, but
sure,
it's a confession from a few weeks back now. There have been some announcements.
Yeah,
since last we spoke. We got a lot of stuff coming from Scream and Shout, right?
Yes. I also wanted to highlight a quick one from Severin.
Okay.
Which is High Tension, a box set of Lamberto Bava movies that I guess were made for Italian television in the 80s, but they were all like way too violent and intense.
Whoa.
So they never actually aired that way. And Severin is releasing a box set of 4 of them on Blu-ray, and it looks pretty cool, I gotta say.
Nice.
I will probably pick that up during their Black Friday sale.
Is there like a beloved horror film from the early 2000s called High Tension?
Yes.
I've never seen that. When I saw this
It's not good.
box, okay. Well, I got excited because when I saw this box, I thought that's what it was.
I believe Second Sight has put High Tension out.
Okay. But not for you. You don't like it.
And people go crazy for that movie. No, it's like one of those like new French extreme movies. And there's a reveal in that movie that makes the rest of the movie like the dumbest thing in the world.
Bummer.
And I don't hang with it. But it's by the guy who directed Crawl.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about these Scream and Shouts.
Yeah.
Your favorites, Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, coming out in 4K.
Which is strange because the first one still does not have a 4K release.
I know. It's too bad they didn't do a box set.
Truly, they must not have the rights, but they did release it on Blu-ray at one point.
And these are good movies?
2 and 3?
Yeah.
No, I think they're actively terrible, but Bruce Springsteen's sister plays Angela in both of them. I can't really remember them, and I was thinking about getting these 2 bare bones Blu-ray releases of each of them. So this is pretty cool that they'll be Scream Shout and have slips, and I'm assuming be more loaded with special features.
And they were really out of print.
Very much so.
City on Fire, is it their first one? No, it's the 6th spine of their Hong Kong cinema classics.
Yeah, we talked about this briefly on Constantine. The 1 through 5, those numbers are a Jet Li box set.
Right. Okay.
So City on Fire is their like first official solo release. This movie's supposed to be great.
And then there's a second set of the Blaxploitation classics. Volume 2 is coming out already on 4K.
It's a bit soon, in my opinion. Like, truly, I've got the first collection and haven't cracked it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even picked up the first one, so now I feel behind.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'll probably hold off till a sale or something if I even get this second volume, but I do think it's cool that they're doing these. They're all 4Ks. The boxes themselves are a little ugly, but they're all solo releases inside the box, which is nice.
What's up with Deathstalker 1 and 2?
Dude, I was just going to ask you the same thing. I don't know anything about these movies other than I know the cover of Deathstalker 1.
Yeah, it's like Sword and Sandal, Ogre, Fantasy, 4K.
Journey to the Age of Awesome Magic.
Shit, dude.
Dude, I'm probably have to get Deathstalker 1 and 2. Are you kidding me?
Second Sight is doing a 4K of When Evil Lurks. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
You did?
Yeah, Sam, you got to see this.
It's insane, right?
There's some insane shit in this movie.
Oh, God, okay.
Some insane shit. It's pretty good.
This is on Shudder, and I started the same director's like first movie called Terrified, I believe, which is also on Shudder.
Okay.
And I was about 25 minutes into it and was feeling so scared and uncomfortable that I had to turn it off. I was I was not in the mood at the time.
That's rare for you.
It is very rare for me.
Dawn of the Discs has sometimes or all the time on the top of their page, they have posts, pinned rather. Mm-hmm. Posts. So this isn't a new thing, but I'm not sure if we've ever talked about it. What's up with the salute of the Jugger, aka Blood Heroes, with Rutger Hauer and Joan Chen?
Dude, I have no idea, but it has been sitting in a umbrella cart that I have like open on my computer for a while.
It looks very 80s and very insane.
My guess is that it totally rules.
Anything else? I know World Trade Center is not on your list.
I was just going to say, you forgot to mention your beloved Oliver Stone and World Trade Center. I wonder if Emma has gotten to World Trade Center in her Nicolas Cage project yet.
We're definitely not doing that on this show, but it'd be good to check in with her again soon. What should we watch with Emma again? Oh, when they do Con Air. I know she's already gone through that, but
when they release it.
When Con Air finally comes out, yeah, we should definitely have Emma back.
Sounds great. But yeah, those are the big ones from Scream Shout. Nothing else that big has been announced, but I guess I'll have to pick up When Evil Lurks then.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
I wonder if that Terrifier movie or Terrified movie has a physical release, because I would, not that I can't stream it on Shudder, but I always prefer to watch a disc when available.
What else, Sam? Anything you want to talk about before we get into The Cell?
I threw on Sin City last night.
The Blu-ray?
The Blu-ray. And one of the nice things about the Blu-ray is that there's 2 discs, and the first disc is the theatrical cut, exactly how it screened in theaters. And then the second disc is all the stories broken up and extended.
Really?
So like each story is like 45 to 47 minutes long. So you can just like throw on whichever one that you want. And I love that they do it because it feels like you're reading one of the comic books. It had been a long time since I had seen any of the movie. So being able to watch a couple chapters last night was a lot of fun, honestly.
Which one did you watch first?
The Yellow Bastard.
Not Josh Hartnett?
Nope. But that one is like, yeah, that's the shortest one. It's like 9 minutes.
Is the Yellow Bastard with Benicio?
No, that's the one with Bruce Willis. The Hard Goodbye is the Mickey Rourke one. The Yellow Bastard is Bruce Willis. And I think the Benicio Clive Owen one is called The Big Fat Kill.
I like that one the best.
Yeah. I mean, they're all great. It had been when was the last time you watched any of them?
It's been ages.
Looks a little dated at this point.
Do we think there's a 4K coming for that?
I don't know. I don't know if you would need one.
My only argument would be how good the color space would look. Like that black and white depth would be cool.
Yeah. But that Blu-ray is still cool. It was still looking good.
Did you ever see the second one?
No. I just didn't think I cared.
Yeah. I don't think it was meant to be that great.
Yeah, I think it was actively kind of bad. And then one other thing that we need to highlight here is that I have gotten some feedback on our Instagram from one of our listeners, Michelle, and from one of my coworkers, Max, that they both know what Callaghan water is, or Culligan's water.
Culligan water.
Yeah, whatever the fuck you were calling it.
Good.
So you're not insane. Michelle actually sent us a advertisement for it.
I thought you were going to say she sent us like a jug.
No, not yet. And then Max said, tell Kurt that I am also familiar with Culligan's water.
Okay, good.
So there you go.
I did Google it while I was cutting that episode and was validated.
The other thing, too, is I heard from a listener on our Instagram that, dude, rumor has it, Murder, She Wrote, real tight.
Are you going to get that box set?
I don't know. He said Murder, She Wrote was from the creators of the 70s Columbo.
Yeah. I should ask Drew about it. I bet he's a fan. I know he likes Columbo.
That Columbo box set is supposed to be great, too, from Kino.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I'm just going to have a shelf of Columbo and Murder, She Wrote at this point.
I definitely just had a little pang of like a genuine, damn, what's up with Murder, She Wrote?
Without a doubt, man. It might be awesome.
Like a late night throw on, you know?
You got home from the bar, you're having one more beer, you're watching Murder, She Wrote. While we're recording this, it's May 31st, so this is the last day that I can buy anything. Am I doing an order? I'm doing an order for Murder, She Wrote and Where Evil Lurks.
That'll set you up right for June, for a dry June.
My God.
All right, Sam, we're going to hop off the mics. We're going to watch The Cell, the theatrical cut. There's 2 on here.
Yes. There's actually 3 on here.
Oh, you're right.
1 is just the Blu-ray.
Yep. It has like a DP approved version of it that's like a different aspect ratio. It's a cropped in 178 with a different color grade. I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to watch the 4K theatrical cut. I always like the theatrical cut if I haven't seen it in a long time.
Sure.
If it's a movie I'm really familiar with, I'm into checking out a director's cut, but I tend to prefer seeing it the way it was released.
Agreed.
Fantastic. I can't wait. This will be fun. We will be hopping off now and coming back very shortly. For you, it'll be a matter of no time, but for us, it will be in the future. Okay, we are back. Back from the depths of the human mind.
Yeah, the mind of the killer.
Oh boy. Sam?
This is a wild little movie, man. It made me really want to watch The Fall, which is also sitting in that umbrella cart that I was just talking about.
I've got that.
You already got your copy of it?
Yep.
Yeah. He shoots some of The Fall in the location that The Cell opens in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember The Fall almost even less than I do The Cell, but as soon as The Cell started, visually it was like I was thinking about The Fall.
Yeah. So before we get into really what the movie is about, what are your feelings right now?
I loved this.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really engaging and emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It's directed by Tarsem Singh, who is an Indian director.
Directed a little music video called Losing My Religion by R.E.M.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't know much about his career, but it has a very music video sensibility, this movie. The first 5 minutes feel like a perfume commercial, which is probably potentially a response to The Cell and not, vice versa. I think that visually this is probably a very influential movie.
to movies now.
To movies, to commercials,
Yeah.
music videos.
You should watch that Losing My Religion music video just because imagery-wise, there are things very related to the cell.
Okay.
Which is cool. It's like cool to see that evolution on screen.
This movie stars Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Incredible performance by him.
Oh, yeah. Came out in 2000. Let's get into the plot. So it opens with Jennifer Lopez in like a white, it almost looks like a wedding dress, but it's sort of made out of like feathers, right? Like,
yeah.
And she's riding a horse through sand dunes. Eventually, after sort of climbing up a sand dune, finds a young boy. And essentially, she's trying to convince this young boy to like sail out of there with her. She has a toy boat. Everything's very dreamy.
Yes.
It's obvious right away that you're sort of in some type of dream.
And it's weird too, because like everybody just speaks so slow, or it's like slowed down in this weird, like almost like they're underwater.
Yep. Very calm deliveries of everything.
Yeah.
At one point, the boy is sort of resistant to going sailing out of this place, and his face becomes sort of demonic, right?
Yeah, like kind of like snaps at her.
What wakes her up? Is it that?
We watch her like pinch between her index finger and her thumb, where there's like a little silver square.
Yep.
And she pinches that, and then it like cuts back to reality, and we see her in a room, like a tank almost.
She's in like a very sleek silver, almost looks like a morgue, like a futuristic morgue.
But it's very sterile.
Yeah, very sterile, with an observation window. There's two people watching her at computer monitors, and she is suspended probably 4 or 5 feet off the ground with, thin kind of metal wire to the ceiling. And she's wearing
Dracula's armor from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
What immediately feels like they just borrowed.
And it looks awesome.
That wardrobe. Oh, yeah.
And so then from underneath her, a like table rises up from the floor. So she's not suspended anymore. And then we see right next to her, there's a little boy in a similar suit, and a table also raises out of the ground and stops him from suspending as well.
And she's sort of coming out of this dream, but he's not. And it's made clear pretty quickly that he is in a coma. He's been in a coma for his whole life, or a long, long time.
No, not his whole life, just for the past like 2 years or something.
We're getting the sense that whatever they're doing in this room, in these suits, in this suspended state of consciousness, is she is sort of traveling into his brain, this boy's brain, his subconscious, with the objective of basically like pulling him out of a coma.
Yes.
And this is a form of psychotherapy, science fiction psychotherapy or whatever, if you will. But it's not going well. They've been at it for a long time, and she is presented, Jennifer Lopez's character, as being very gifted at this process. The way, she brings her kind of therapist qualities to this world, she's done so in a way that nobody else was like as good at. But the parents of this boy are over it.
Yeah.
They want to put him in a hospital.
They want results, basically.
Yeah. Do you know who the dad is?
No, I didn't recognize him at all.
He's the dad in Panic Room.
No way, really?
Yeah. I was like, what is this guy from? And then
that's
it
so
hit
funny.
Me. Yeah.
So during this time, they're not like pulling funding from this project, but they're pulling the boy. The parents say they have 6 months to give him results, and if not, like they're going to put him in a real hospital. At the same time, it cuts to Vincent D'Onofrio's character, who we see has just drowned a woman in a very intense, like waterproof cell that's like in a factory somewhere.
It's a grain factory, like a very small, like there's 2 grain silos. It's in the middle of
Bakersfield.
Somewhere in the California desert, Bakersfield. Yeah. And there's 2 grain silos in a small building, and you see him pull up to that building, a very like kind of dilapidated building, but a building. You see him pull up in his truck, and then it goes inside, and there's this cell that is filled with water. It's like a jail cell made of glass, but it's completely submerged.
And there's like 5 cameras.
Yep, video cameras.
On the outside of the cell pointing in, like having shot the whole struggle.
Yep, kind of it cuts to the exterior, and you see a water pipe that's outside dumping out water, and he watches her die.
Then it goes into his whole process. So pretty quickly we know that he is like a psycho serial killer. He's got this whole process where he cleans up the bodies, kind of bleaches them down, dresses them up to look like a doll.
Yeah, basically. We should say right now, this movie's disturbing as fuck. Yeah, so it's FYI.
Extremely disturbing. He's got like a bunch of metal rings in his back and arms because he does that like suspension, it's like skin stretching stuff.
Yeah. He hangs himself upside down, parallel to the ground.
Yeah. So he cleans up the woman, dresses her up like a doll, or like dresses her face up like a doll because she's totally naked. And then he hangs suspended above her, parallel to her, and jerks off on her.
Yeah.
And then dumps the body in a place that he pretty much knows somebody will find it.
Which they do. They find this body in a very dry LA-style riverbed. The FBI does. And this FBI is led by Vince Vaughn.
With help from Dean Norris and that guy from the Dawn of the Dead remake.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, what's his name? And we just saw him in something else, too.
His name's Jake T. Weber. Oh, you just saw him in U571.
U571, baby. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
At the crime scene, there is a tire track that matches previous bodies that have been found like this. That it's sort of established, like, obviously this isn't the first one. They're looking for this guy. The tire tracks spin out in a way where he was leaving quickly, I think, Vincent D'Onofrio, and the back of his vehicle scrapes paint against the side of the bridge that he throws this woman off of. So they know what color his car is now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, it's like there was more of this movie spent in reality than I had remembered.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's cool because like it starts out with the Jennifer Lopez stuff,
which is hyper stylized, as we said, and like pretty beautiful and kind of crazy to look at.
And then this is very procedural and sort of you spend enough time just in this part of the story where you get a little bit of Jennifer Lopez at home, getting high and watching Fantastic Planet, which is amazing.
Hell yeah.
But it's mostly on Vince Vaughn and this team for a little while. I love when a movie does that, where you almost forget where the real plot is.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
Like the B story is really engaging at the beginning of this movie. And so you're following the FBI, but you're also following Vincent D'Onofrio. So the audience immediately, you know who it is. You know who the bad guy is. And he's casing his next victim.
Yeah.
And so he's watching a young woman have lunch with her boyfriend.
It feels a lot like, Silence of the Lambs, Seven, any of those types of movies at this time.
I told you Drew came over last night. Drew and Haley, his wife. We watched Silence of the Lambs last night, which was
funny.
An amazing accidental double feature for me.
Totally.
There obviously wouldn't be the cell without that movie. And so he has a fit basically while he's watching Vincent D'Onofrio, this woman, and he needs like aspirin to calm himself down.
And we keep hearing this like very big booming bass heavy voice when he's having these fits. There's another voice talking to him and we realize that it's inside of his head. But as Kurt just said, he like takes aspirin to kind of cut the voice and calm himself.
Yeah.
So he ends up kidnapping this woman.
Oof. It's so scary, that scene.
In a very similar style to the way that Buffalo Bill grabs the woman in the van.
Yeah. He's got a dog, Vincent D'Onofrio's character. He's got an albino dog. Julia Hickson is her character's name, and she's leaving work one night in an empty high-rise parking lot. She walks out of the elevator. It's very quiet, too quiet. She pulls out a taser because she's very nervous, makes it to her car, locks the door, and when she puts her car in reverse, you hear the dog whimper and there's like a jerk to the car, like she hit the dog, and she can see it lying down in her rearview mirror. She gets out and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's going to be okay. Right as she sort of notices that under her tire is a small cinder block. Yeah. So that's what her car was reacting to. Like the dog did not get hit by this car. It was just trained to lie there and whimper. She's grabbed from behind by Vincent D'Onofrio and taken.
Dude, let me tell you, when this scene was happening, I was like, oh my God, this 4K is so clear that you can like see this stupid cinder block. Like who let that happen?
Yeah, just like a safety thing.
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God. And you're right, man. It is like, it's scary.
It's scary.
Like when he grabs her. Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is worse.
Yeah.
Those scenes are just the worst. But
well, then you got him going like, where's your big friend? The fucking blast. Oh, that's the best.
I was laughing, man. You like ruined that for me. You ruined it. I was like laughing a minute out from that line happening.
Put the fucking lotion of the basket.
That and Forget It, Jake, It's Chinatown are just like soiled by you. Okay, so the FBI, on the body of the first victim that they find in the river, they discover a dog hair on the body. And the dog hair is analyzed and shown to be from an albino dog, which is rare. So they have a bit of a lead there, and they have the paint of the truck.
Yes.
So they're looking at, I think, animal breeders, and they're looking at car dealerships. Is that right?
Yeah.
You know, they're investigating those two lanes in order to find this guy. While they're visiting Julia Hickson, the new victim's family, her boyfriend, by the way, did you catch that?
Yeah.
Sarsgaard. A young Peter Sarsgaard. Doesn't even get a close-up. He must be like really new at that point.
Wait, is he a Skarsgård or Sarsgaard?
He's a Sarsgaard.
He's Sarsgaard, yeah.
Yeah. While they're there, they get a phone call that they have connected the dots, and there was like I don't exactly know, but the dog and the truck line up.
Yeah.
And they think they know where this guy is.
They take a helicopter and do a whole SWAT bust on Vincent D'Onofrio's house, and his character's name, by the way, is
Karl Rudolph Starger.
Yeah. So they do a whole FBI SWAT bust on Carl's house.
While he is having one of his fits, and he doesn't have any aspirin, and by the time they find him in the house, he's passed out, face down, and they just discover this he's a big guy, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
A big naked man with rings in his back and arms.
Yeah.
But no Julia Hickson.
They do a whole search on the house. They find his basement, which has his suspension hooks in it and his like final cleaning place for the body. So they know they're on to the right guy. They just do not know where Julia is.
And there's footage of her on his TV being live streamed where she's in the cell, right?
I thought that
older
footage was old videotapes. How I read it this time is I'm pretty sure when he is suspended over her, he's watching the tapes of her suffer in the tank.
I see. Okay.
So thus, when they hit play on that TV, it's like playing the tape from the first victim that we see.
Got it. He is now in a coma, Vincent D'Onofrio's character.
We hear from like a neurologist who's basically like, this is a super rare form of schizophrenia. Like he is completely lost. There's no options. If I had any options, I would tell. And then he stops talking immediately, little twinkle in his eye. And then all of a sudden it's like this slow-mo shot of a helicopter blade.
Let's say this first. It's Pruitt Taylor Vince who plays him, who we talk about on the Constantine episode. Just a great character actor. He's the doctor.
Who I'm also pretty sure is Superman's dad in this new Superman movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, he's got this moment where, yeah, exactly. He's like, there's no other way. There might be another way. And there's a great cut to Vince Vaughn, who's like, knows that there's another way now.
Yeah.
And then, dude, that slow-mo sequence.
It is so phenomenal.
Howard Shore does the score for this.
Yes.
And just really awesome. Like, I don't even remember like how to describe it. It's just so, I couldn't even like process it technically while watching it because it was emotionally so, just intoxicating, the sequence of these helicopters landing at this facility where Jennifer Lopez works.
It's awesome.
Yeah, like chills.
And what's really cool is Howard Shore, who I mainly know from working with David Cronenberg so much, but also this movie feels so Cronenbergian in a way. In like we're putting on these weird suits to go into this kind of nether realm. And
yeah, that's a great call.
It really like drove that point home for me.
And Seven. I mean, it feels a lot like Seven, and I'll say a little bit more about the score.
So much like Seven.
Howard Shore obviously did Seven.
So they get to this facility and are pretty much like presented with, this is how the technology works. This is what we're doing. So it's Vince Vaughn and his partner talking to Jennifer Lopez and her team. They're like, the board of directors already okayed this. It's up to you guys. Do you want to do this?
It's been established earlier that Jennifer Lopez has nightmares, and you see one of those while she's watching Fantastic Planet Stoned. When she goes into these mines, there is a risk of psychological trauma affecting her. So it's kind of a tall ask for her to go into the head of Vincent D'Onofrio, which is obviously going to be a shitstorm.
Especially because she doesn't know him at all, and she says it's going to take a long time to establish trust. This is not just a thing that we can do overnight. And Vince Vaughn says we have 40 hours until Julia is dead.
Right.
His cycle is kind of mapped out by the FBI at that point. And they know that they're on a time frame. We should also mention that it is always Jennifer Lopez going into the other person's mind, not her bringing them into hers.
Correct.
So she gives it the okay and says she's going to do this. They get Vincent or Carl all dressed up in the Dracula suit. She puts hers on and she goes in.
Also, great little foreshadow moment here. There are 3 red suits in the room that they wear when they go under, and Vince Vaughn is like, why are there 3 suits? We should mention that one of the guys who runs the operation, like through the viewing, window, the guy running the computers to put her under, is the pedophile dad from Happiness.
Yeah, Dylan Baker.
Fucking love him.
Also Kurt Connors in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Oh. So she goes into the mind of a serial killer.
And pretty quickly, it is a fucking shit show in there.
So it's 2000.
Yeah.
This movie is full of visual effects from 2000.
But I will also say a lot of it is, there's really cool practical effects in this realm as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure. There's great sets.
Really great costuming, incredible costuming.
And art design. I mean, the art design. Tarsem Singh, I don't know enough about him, but he's got to be, he's got some kind of fine art, either background or brain to him.
Without a doubt.
It's amazing, the designs in this.
I mean, if you've seen The Fall or this movie, you know what we're talking about. It's just like, it's very bright. Even when it's dark, it's bright. It's a beautiful looking movie. But as Kurt just said, there is a lot of 2000s CGI and visual effects in it.
And so she is quickly introduced in this world to a young boy who is, the young version, the child version of Carl Rudolph Starger.
Do you know who that kid actor is?
Absolutely, buddy. Lizzie McGuire's little brother.
Yep. I was like, why do I know this kid? I was like, is he a Malcolm in the Middle brother? And I was like,
that's
no.
that was my first thought too.
Yeah. And quickly, the young Carl is kind of like intrigued by Jennifer Lopez's character, but doesn't really trust her. But very quickly saves her life in this dream realm. And then it kind of cuts to the real world again. And Dylan Baker's character is saying, like, there's that age-old adage where if you die in your dream, you die in real life. Like, your mind can basically convince your body that it's getting hurt or killed and then like cease to exist.
Yeah.
So we know the stakes are high.
She soon ends up in this twisted version of the Natural History Museum, which has all of D'Onofrio's victims on display.
Yes.
In different kind of cases and tableaus and things.
It's weird because everybody's in these like, they're nude, but they're not, it's like a skin tight nude suit that kind of blocks all like there's no nipples and there's no like sexual organs,
but they're like dressed doll like. Their makeup is very doll like,
and they're like in a diorama. Like each victim is in this like weird diorama.
Yep.
And then this extremely muscular bodybuilder bodyguard person knocks Jennifer Lopez out, like throws her over her shoulder and brings her to a type of throne room
where we meet kind of the first version of Vincent D'Onofrio, the actor, playing a kind of...
It's like it's part of his schizophrenia. It's like this god-like creature who just like basically controls this whole realm, and his appearance always changes, but it's very demonic, and he's got this long purple cape that's like part of the wallpaper that when he starts to move, it drags across the wall and it looks like giant purple wings. He's like this deity who just reigns over this whole world. And Jennifer Lopez basically gets a sight of him and immediately hits her little square in her hand to wake herself up from this dream.
The abort button.
Yeah. And she's like, that's the most fucked up mine I've ever been in. I am not going back in there.
Yep.
Well, and at this point, it's, Vince Vaughn is kind of laying it on thick to be like, we got to do this. There's a time frame, and she really doesn't want to go back in.
So Vince Vaughn has a long kind of heart-to-heart conversation with Jennifer Lopez.
He convinces her to give it one more shot by offering, personal information. We get the idea that he was maybe abused as a kid because they're talking about how it's just pretty clear that Carl has been abused in some way.
Yeah.
And through that, she kind of like takes pity on Vince Vaughn and the Carl character, the young Carl character, and decides to give it one more shot.
So she has this objective of saving this boy, basically, to go back in.
We talked about it earlier, but before she started working for this company, she was a child psychologist. So she very much has a soft spot for kids.
It's one of the things that I think works the best about this movie is now there's sort of this dual path where our two protagonists, Jennifer Lopez and Vince Vaughn, are both on kind of separate missions to save people. Obviously, Vince Vaughn is the FBI agent trying to save Julia Hickson, but now Jennifer Lopez has this objective to save the young boy, Lizzie McGuire's little brother, who is trapped in the mind, of grown-up Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. So she goes back in, and we quickly see the way that Carl was abused by his dad.
Rough stuff.
Really rough stuff. And Carl, the young kid at this point, is trying to protect Jennifer Lopez as much as he can, but realizes that, like, with him comes the other side, which is the deity side.
Yep.
So the god Vincent D'Onofrio comes in, and, like, it's so crazy. His hair is styled in this way that looks like horns.
Yeah, they're like devil elk horns, but it's made out of hair coming out of the front of his forehead.
And he's, like, shirtless, but he's got, like, scales.
Yeah. And one of the things we learn of in the real world when they've discovered the first victim that we meet anyways, body, is there are sort of like lacerations or whatever around her neck. It's established, or they assume that he's putting like a collar on them, on their bodies, right?
Yeah. As like an owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in the dream world, the subconscious realm, he does that to Jennifer Lopez. He basically pins her down and puts on this collar.
And at this point, she is so scared and her mind is so, like, broken that she starts to think that this is reality.
She's basically trapped.
Yeah. So back in the real world, the computer starts going nuts, and Dylan Baker's like, this is that hypothetical situation I told you about is now happening. She is believing all this is real. She doesn't remember her abort button anymore.
Yep.
She is trapped in there.
Now it's time for the third suit, Sam.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, baby.
Our man Vince.
When this part happened, I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. So Vince Vaughn puts on the suit.
With zero training,
and goes in to try and save J.Lo.
Yeah. So he's read her file. Dylan Baker says, when you get to her, you have to tell her something like personal, bring up a situation that will help get her mind back on track.
He goes in, he sees some of his own sort of shit, his own psychology, you'd assume, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time he finds her, she's very seductress dressed, lying on a bed.
She's like chained to the bed.
Yeah. And is wearing this amazing mask.
Yeah. It like goes from like her nose down to her mouth, and but it's just one silver rod, and then there's ones coming off of it.
Yeah. So you can see her face.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It's really cool. She basically seduces him, and they start kissing. And while they're doing that, evil deity Vincent D'Onofrio, who's now like bald and like painted in gold and wearing all this ornate gold, he grabs hold of Vince Vaughn and straps him down to like a torture,
like a medieval
table.
Torture device.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah.
So Vince Vaughn is strapped to this table, and above him, running kind of over his waist area, a few feet above him, is like a rod with a wheel crank on the side of it.
That has like some spikes on it.
Has some spikes on it. And Vincent D'Onofrio takes a pair of gold scissors, stabs into Vince Vaughn's gut.
Yep.
And all the while Vince Vaughn is like, it's not real, but he's screaming.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get Jennifer Lopez to wake the fuck up and help him.
He's like, wake the fuck up right now.
Vincent D'Onofrio pulls out his intestine and attaches it to this rod with spikes on it, and then just slowly starts cranking this wheel and pulling his intestines out and like wrapping it in a coil around. I was like, my feet were like sticking out in front of me, like
Yeah, it's fucking gnarly, dude.
And Vince Vaughn is yelling to Jennifer Lopez the sort of personal information, right, that he was told would maybe help her snap out of it. So he's like, your brother was in a coma after a car accident. It took him 6 months to die. Something that she had told him in confidence. This snaps her out of it. So she somehow, I forget how, but she gets him out of this tortured chamber device. Oh, she stabs the back of Vincent D'Onofrio. She sneaks up, grabs one of his other torture devices and stabs him in the back and frees Vince Vaughn.
And then it like pretty much just teleports, right? Again, this is like dream logic, like subconscious stuff. So Vincent D'Onofrio kind of disappears after getting stabbed, and then all of a sudden they're in a different room.
And they see a gold ornate cell that looks similar to the cell they're seeing on the videotape in real life, there is sort of a hologram looking effect of a woman who is drowning, who is basically Julia Hickson, the actress playing her. And on the sides of this tank, this cell, are these symbols that are on the machine that Vincent D'Onofrio uses in the real world to suspend himself over his victims, that Vince Vaughn had seen during the investigation of his house.
Yeah.
And so he is like, I know where to find him. I know this is a clue that we haven't looked into. Like, we got to get out of here. And meanwhile, Vincent D'Onofrio, the deity, is back, and he's taking hold of the young boy.
The young boy, we notice, has the same like stab wound in his back that deity god Vincent D'Onofrio has as well.
Exactly. And Jennifer Lopez is like, we can't go. We got to save this boy. Do they both pull out of the world?
Vince Vaughn, I think, hits her button and then his.
Yeah. So they pull out, and Vince Vaughn is like on the phone immediately with Dean Norris. He says, you got to go down to the basement. Dean Norris is down there, and they're looking, he's on the phone with Vince Vaughn, and they're looking at this suspension machine, which has this symbol on it that was on the cell in the dream. And they realize that this machine was built in Bakersfield, California. And he's like, you need to find out everything about who sold, who bought these machines, these suspension machines. And he gets on a...
Yeah, he's up and out of the medical facility as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah.
He's like, we're on the move at this point. We can save Julia. We got to get going. So he bounces.
And Jennifer Lopez is worried about the young boy in the dream and decides for the first time not to go into the mind of Vincent D'Onofrio, but to bring him into her mind in order to save this kid.
Yeah. So she like changes the locks so like the people can't stop her from doing it. And she does exactly what Kurt just said.
Yeah, she goes rogue.
Yeah, man. And her mind is, she's pretty much like the Virgin Mary in her mind.
Yeah, it's like very religious iconography imagery.
Very white, very pristine, very clean. And it's her kind of on these steps with a beautiful like pool in front of her. And young Carl is there with her on the steps. And he says, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here with you. And she's like, that's not how it works, sweetie, but I can help you. And he's like, the only way you can help me is you have to kill me.
Yep.
And she's like, I'm not going to do that. But then evil Carl shows up and starts to like dance around in this really creepy, strange, almost like the skeleton dance from the old Walt Disney cartoon.
He's sort of dressed in like an androgynous snake. Like he's got like snake makeup on.
Yeah, he's like scaly.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the FBI has zoned in on this property of someone who bought this machine and then went bankrupt. And then they did research on what happened to his property out in Bakersfield. And the state hired none other than Vincent D'Onofrio to like
clean it and seal it up.
Yeah, clean it and seal it up. And this property is, of course, this grain silo.
Yeah.
So the helicopter is like on its way. The pilot's like, I know where that is. And, you know, the helicopter like veers off. And so it's this amazing kind of climax where it's cross-cutting between Jennifer Lopez in her final confrontation with Vincent D'Onofrio, who's now in her brain, and Vince Vaughn getting to the location where Julia Hickson is and is, of course, like moments away from drowning. Now it's like the Howard Shore 7 music is playing. The sort of what's in the box. Like that you can tell that he was like, I know what to do here. I've done this.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, and just setting wise.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like reminiscent of the end of 7.
Yeah.
But it's a great sequence where Vince Vaughn is, you know, he jumps out of the helicopter, he's got his gun out, and he's looking in the grain silos, and he goes into the building that we think, you know, is the building that Vincent D'Onofrio is keeping Julia Hickson, because we've seen him show up there before in an establishing shot where he gets out of his truck at the beginning, and then it cuts to the interior where this water cell is. But Vincent D'Onofrio goes in, and it's like empty. There's nothing there. In the dream world, what's happening with J.Lo?
J.Lo has like crucified him with a crossbow, more or less.
Yeah, she's like pinned his feet and hands down to the ground.
And she's like wailing on him. She's like, my brain, my rules, and starts wailing on him.
And she looks all badass now. She's like, her like wardrobe has changed and her hair, and she's got like dark makeup on.
And it, like her hair color has changed too.
Yeah.
It's she looks honestly like phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's like wailing on him, and he's bleeding and like is acting hurt, but then he kind of just starts smiling. Also, his teeth are like filed down into fangs at this point. Like,
yeah, he looks like a snake.
Yeah. And he's kind of laughing because he basically knows that she won't kill the kid, thus he won't die.
And back in the desert, you see Vince Vaughn is like out of ideas, basically thinks they're at the wrong place. And then the water pipe there's sort of like a little lid on it and it moves up and down. He follows the water pipeline and finds a hatch that goes straight down into the ground.
It's such a good reveal, dude.
Oh my God.
Such a good reveal.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. Like this sequence had me like crying. I found it so intense.
Yeah.
The emotional kind of intersection of those two sequences. Oof, it's really good. And he gets down there and she is breathing Julia Hickson into a pipe at the water tank is the cell's completely underwater. She's up in a corner near the front with her mouth against a pipe that she's broken off.
And she looks dead. Like we're pretty sure she's dead at this point.
Yeah. But you realize that she's been breathing into that. And he screams through the glass, through the water, like, you got to back up. You got to back up. She swims to the back of the tank and he starts shooting the glass, which doesn't break right away, but it's like splintering and a little bit of water starts coming out. So you know that it's sort of working.
At this point, it cuts back to the dream mind world. Jennifer Lopez goes to the young Carl, who is bloodied the way that the old Carl is bloodied, and picks him up and realizes that she has to like drown this kid, which also unlocks this core memory because Carl was baptized when he was 6. And this is when the bad voice started talking to him for the first time.
Yeah, he's baptized in a river, like fully dunked underwater. And while he's under, like drowning, basically.
And we find out in the movie that night after he was baptized, his dad, who baptized him, brought him home and broke 3 of his ribs and his jaw, dislocated his jaw. And so she starts to like very calmly hold the young boy underwater while we see the evil Carl, who's still pinned to the ground with the arrows, like start to writhe and kind of like his eyes are getting wide and he's kind of like gasping for breath. Then it cuts back to the real world where Vince Vaughn
grabs a big pipe
yeah
and smashes the cell open.
Yeah.
Huge water explosion comes flying at him and Julia is alive.
So she drowns Carl, and as we're watching him drown in his subconscious mind, he's like dying on the table in his fugue coma state.
Yeah. So J.Lo wakes up and
Carl is dead beside her.
Yes.
It then cuts to Vince Vaughn and other FBI people going through Carl's house one more time, and Vince Vaughn sees a picture of the torture device that he was strapped to in the dream.
Yeah, it's like an old Renaissance painting, basically.
Yeah. J.Lo shows up at the house and they have a quick chat about like how the FBI is just basically like brushing this under the rug and saying like, we caught him with good old detective work.
Yeah.
And J.Lo says, okay, so this is hello and goodbye then.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Could they not have just caught him with some good old fashioned detective work? Like, where did he get this table? Like, that's pretty much what it comes down to, right?
It is the one part of the script that I don't love because I'm like, why didn't you look into the table manufacturer when you like saw it down there? Because it's this weird symbol. It's not just like it's like a crescent moon with like 5 lines, or it's like 2 above and 3 below it or something.
It's also a pretty weird thing to have. Like, it's kind of worth checking into where someone might buy that. And hey, did anybody weird buy this?
Yeah, it is a bit like, oh, okay. But the rest of the movie is so cool that it's like,
yeah, it's fine.
I'll let it be.
And at the end of the film, we're back where we started in the desert, the dunes, and Jennifer Lopez.
I think we're led to believe because she's got the sailboat in her hands again.
Yep.
And there's this like massive blue like scarf, like fabric that's like stretched between these 2 trees. She's holding the boat and like kind of rocking it. I think we're led to believe that she has now taken the other little boy into her mind.
Yes.
Which we think will be the step to help him get out of his coma.
Exactly. And that's The Cell.
Dude, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
You gotta like, if you guys haven't seen it, you need to watch it just for the visuals.
Yep.
It's trippy. It's wild. Like Kurt said, it's really emotional. And I mean, it's gnarly. Like there's some gross shit in it. This was successful, wasn't it? Like yeah,
I think it was like $100 million box office.
Okay.
Against 33. So this is a limited edition Arrow 4K that we got, which is great. Lots of special features on here, which obviously we haven't watched yet because we just watched the movie. I did want to ask you, Sam, this is known to have a glitch in it, a repeat shot. Did you see something?
I think it's only in the director's cut.
Oh, okay.
Also, I watched the replacement disc.
You got a replacement disc?
Yeah. Didn't you get one?
No.
You're the one who... Wait, what?
I didn't know they made them.
You're the one who told me about this.
I reached out to them and gave them my information edition, but I never got a disc. I didn't know they were doing it. Oh my God.
Dude, I messaged Arrow on their Instagram.
I gotta go.
And I provided like proof of purchase, and they just sent me the replacement disc. You literally never got one? Because you're the one who started this conversation with me.
I know. I told you what to do. I gotta figure this out.
You gotta message him again, man.
I will. But yes, it must be only on the director's cut because I did not see it.
Yeah, I remembered hearing that. And I do think at this point, because it's back in stock and like it's at my local Barnes & Noble, I do think that if you buy it now, it will have the right disc on it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You can also double check that by on the front of the disc, it'll say like this, it'll say V2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
It's a newer Arrow release. It has a slip sleeve, a poster, some lobby cards are included. That stuff might only be part of the limited edition version. So if you're interested, pick it up sooner rather than later. But
are there lobby cards? There's definitely an essay. I didn't see lobby cards.
Oh, maybe I got those two mixed up. There's definitely a poster.
Yeah, for sure. And an essay book.
Yeah.
They sourced the 35 negative for it. Looks great. Great colors.
Great colors.
Yeah. The cell.
The cell was great. It's funny because at first, when the first shots started, I was like, all right, is this movie going to be a little cheesy? Like, am I over this movie at this point?
Yep.
And by the middle of it, I knew what time we started the movie, and I looked at my phone, like, just to check the time, and I was like, oh my God, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this movie. It's just flying. Like, it was...
Yep, super entertaining.
Yeah.
All it took was that helicopter slow-mo landing shot, and I was like, oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, this is the best movie ever made. Dude, you got to watch The Fall again.
I will.
Especially because I'm sure the colors in that movie are going to be... nuts.
Can't wait. Okay, Sam, before we go, it's time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles and formats that do not yet exist. I wish for a 4K of Fantastic Planet.
I wish for a 4K of Steel Dawn.
Fantastic Planet is a 1973 animated sci-fi. I don't know if you'd call it experimental, but it's really strange, the tone of this movie.
It's very French. It's so French.
Yeah. Really, really cool imagery. Criterion has a Blu-ray out of it that's excellent. Just for the colors, an HDR version would be really amazing.
I've definitely gotten stoned and watched this movie. So J.Lo and I,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a rite of passage.
Yeah, you have to.
This movie was on in college. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm sure people know it more than they think. It's like these humanoid blue creatures with kind of like fin gill ears.
Yeah, they're like giants, and they're keeping humans as pets.
It's wild.
What'd you wish for? Steel Dawn?
Steel Dawn, dude. It's a Swayze movie from the 80s.
Damn.
87. It looks like there's a Vestron video Blu-ray of it.
Okay.
I don't know how often those get upgraded, so maybe I'll just pick up the Blu-ray, but I threw it on Tubi at work the other day. And, when I'm at work, I'm not really watching movies, but every time I looked up, I'm like, Steel Dawn might be awesome.
Only one way to find out.
I streamed it on Netflix probably 14 years ago. And my buddy Graham and I drank a bunch of fucking Mad Dog 2020, which is like gross wine. So I don't remember Steel Dawn at all, but it's probably awesome.
It's probably awesome.
Post-apocalyptic Swayze? Come on, dude.
We'll get some Mad Dogs when it comes out.
Oh, dude, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, that is it for another episode of Physical Therapy. Thank you all very, very much for listening. We are going to be off next week.
Yes, so bear with us.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
With the entirety of Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Sam, you're going to talk, I'll listen.